We've got Beedrill V. Does 40 times the number of heads, flip 2 coins for a grass. Or Swarming String for grass colorless. It does 50 times the number of Beedrill you haven't played of one of your opponent's Pokemon. Seems like a big meme. One out of 5 stars for sure. Not good. Not good. Hisuian Voltorb, you can only use this if you go second and on your first turn. Choose up to 2 of your bench Pokemon for each of those Pokemon. Search your deck for a basic energy and attach it to that Pokemon. Honestly, this does not seem like the worst one-of inclusion I've ever seen. Okay, guys, like tell me if I'm out of my mind. Like, in theory right now, this does not seem horrible. Just throw one in your deck. Maybe you're a deck that wants to go first, but you know, only 50% of the time you get to go first. Maybe you bench like an Arceus and then your non-Arceus attacker, and then for free you chipper charge and attach a basic energy from your deck to 2 of your Pokemon. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, toss it in Arceus Malamar VMAX, you know, battle VIP for your Arceus Malamar, quick ball for them, switch your balloon into the Voltorb. Like, it actually seems pretty good. Now, the problem is, it's a card in your deck that you're never using if you go first. That's the issue. The issue is that you're never using this if you go first. It has absolutely no utility. And I don't think there's any other electrodes in the set. If there was another electrode, maybe. No, that's Regieleki. So yeah, if there was another electrode that was like, you could play like a 1-1 line and the electrode was good, then I'd say absolutely for sure. But I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5 for now. I'm going to say it has potential, but like without actually working out the logistics, trying it out in a deck, it's hard for me to say if it's good or not. But see, the thing is, it's really interesting about this, and I forgot that this card was even coming out, is for New Jersey regionals, I'm trying to think, because like Arceus Inteleon, just straight Arceus Inteleon is one of my top choices right now. It's like my default comfort pick. It was for Indy as well, but I'm thinking, okay, is there a single card I can put in my deck that just makes going second in the Arceus mirror better? Is there a single card I can do, whether it's something that makes me stronger or affects my opponent negatively? Is there something I can do? And I don't know if this would go into Arceus Inteleon specifically, but just seeing this type of card, it gets the creative juices flowing a little bit. So 2 out of 5, not complete bulk. Like, this could be played. Hisuian Electrode, however, complete bulk. Get that out of here. Then we got Scyther and Scyther. Of course, we needed 2 Scythers. We'll skip right by those. Bulk. Yanma and Yanmega. Yeah, more cards. 120 for a double turn. No. Bad. Bulk. Overhead throw. Let me lower the music just a little bit. Sorry, guys. 20 and does no bulk. Okay, here we go. Non-bulk. Cricketune. The HP of each grass Pokemon. Wait, it has to be your grass Pokemon, right? It can't just each grass Pokemon. I have it over here, the English one. Let's just confirm. Oh yeah, your grass Pokemon in play except Cricketune gets plus 40 HP. So, this is a card that's as good as the grass cards surrounding it. It's as good as the other grass cards in standard format. And we know that we have the, Hisuian Lilligant VSTAR in this set. I'll give this Cricketune a 2 out of 5, I think. Combi, search your deck for an item. Vespiquen. Oh, Vespiquen's a meme, right? That's gotta be a meme. I mean, it's not complete bulk, but 1 out of 5. Leafeon, Energy Garden, search your deck for up to 3 different types of basic energy, attach them to your Pokemon. Not good enough that you have to evolve it from a basic Pokemon that you're already not using for other reasons. If you were using Eevee and other evolutions for stuff, then maybe this could be okay, but bulk. So this Shaman's another interesting one for going, it can only be used on your first turn going second. Search your deck for up to 3 cards, put them into your hand. So this Shaman, I think, could be okay when Marnie rotates, as long as we don't get an instant Marnie replacement. Because, like, in theory, Marnie rotates. I don't think every deck just starts putting Judge in place of Marnie, right? Maybe decks play, like, 1 Judge and 1 Roxanne, but I don't think we'll ever get into a world where we play, like, 4 Judge the way we played 4 Marnie. So, this Bright Gift is pretty cool because there's a world where after Marnie rotates, you could just get to keep those cards. 1.5 out of 5. I'm very skeptical of this. Let's see. We've got Petal and Hisuian Lilligant. Has Flying Flip. Does 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon, but that's all it has going for it. Not good. Then we've got Hisuian Lilligant V and Hisuian Lilligant VSTAR. Now, the V is just going to basically be a stepping stone for the VSTAR in most cases. I know we do have the Decidueye in this set where the V is actually playable, possibly even more playable than the VSTAR. But typically, the V is going to be a stepping stone for the VSTAR. The exception is when the V is actually good on its own. So it has a free attack, draw until you have 6 cards in your hand. That's not awful, but you can't attack going first. And if you go second and attack with this on your first turn, most decks are just going to be knocking out the Lilligant V on the following turn. So it's not exactly something you want to leave in the active, especially at only 200 HP. And then leave step 130. So on its own, this card's like not even rateable. It's like a 1 out of 5 on its own. But then Hisuian Lilligant VSTAR has the parallel spin. It does 130 damage, and you may return an energy card attached to this Pokemon to your hand. If you do, it does 100 more. So honestly, returning an energy to the hand could be good in some cases, because maybe you are expecting this to get knocked out and you can preserve that energy to use with the Gardenia supporter next turn. Also note the Gardenia supporter that allows you to draw 2 cards and then attach 2 grass energy from hand to, I believe, one of your benched grass Pokemon, is it? Let's see. Gardenia. It doesn't have to be grass, but it does have to be benched. So yeah, Gardenia, draw 2 cards and attach up to 2 grass energy to one of your benched Pokemon. So note that that's in the set as well. And then the ability for Hisuian Lilligant VSTAR is once a turn, you may search your deck for up to 5 in any combination of grass Pokemon and grass energy cards. Reveal them, put them into your hand, and that's your VSTAR power. A pretty underwhelming VSTAR power in most cases. But if you have a Gardenia in your hand, you want to guarantee that you're going to be getting the energy acceleration out of it, then potentially you would play it for that. Or you would pop that VSTAR power in that case. And like maybe the Hisuian Lilligant VSTAR deck, that if it's actually a deck, you know, in theory, wouldn't use another VSTAR Pokemon or another VSTAR Pokemon with a VSTAR power that you want to use. So I think this card's kind of right down the middle. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. It could potentially see play just because it's also it's grass type, and there are VSTAR Pokemon coming out in this set that are weak to grass, so that could also give it a boost. But in a vacuum, I think it's about a 3 out of 5. The overall deck that comes out of it might be better than that, but I think the card itself is not insane. Let's see. We got Rowlet and Dartrix, nothing. Ponyta, Rapidash, Bulk. Cyndaquil, Quilava, Heatran V. I pulled 2 of this Heatran V. Actually, 3 if I count my Japanese copy of it. It's not very good. It does 180 at best for 3 energy, just not what you want to be seeing. But then there is a Heatran V Max. It has the ability Lava Enhancement. Once a turn, if you have a Stadium in play, you can heal 50 damage from this Pokemon. And then Max Heat does 180 and your opponent's active is now burned. So, because it has 330 HP, and it heals itself for 50 damage a turn, you know, granted that you have a Stadium out, you could play this with things like Hyper Potion, with the new Togekiss, with Lucky Ice Pop. Like, it could be a healing tanky deck. It just doesn't seem like it would be enough to be like a, you know, a high tier viable kind of card, but it could see some like splashable play like we've seen out of, you know, like Stonejourner and Dracozolt VMAX. You know, those kind of like on like face value mediocre cards have seen play just because of all the tanking possibilities we have in the format. So I think this is like a 1.5 out of 5 I'd give it. It's not complete bulk, but it's also going to be pretty darn hard to make it work. Oh yeah, switch carts only for basics. Yeah, switch carts not very good, unfortunate. It's just like more situational switch and probably never worth playing over switch. But chat was mentioning that Dialga VSTAR, if we just want to go back up to that for a second. The 230 does, of course, become 260 with a choice belt, and then if you're attacking into VMAX Pokemon, it can become 290 with Hawlucha. And if you're playing the Inteleon engine, it becomes 310. So, I don't know. Maybe if there's enough VMAX Pokemon in the metagame, then that could be relevant as well. Oh, scrolled too far. Then we've also got Radiant Heatran, as if the Heatran VMAX wasn't enough. Now, Radiant Heatran, I think, is actually better than Heatran VMAX. It is a Radiant Pokemon, so of course you can only have one of these Radiant Pokemon in the deck. And then it has the attack, it's written here as Raging Bomber. For Fire, Colorless, it does 70 times the number of damage counters on this Pokemon. So if you're playing the, what's it called, Magma Basin, that accelerates a fire energy to one of your fire Pokemon and puts 2 damage counters on it, if you just use that 2 turns in a row, then this Radiant Heatran is a single manual attachment away from doing 280, and that's before using Choice Belt. So if you're already working with a fire deck, you know, there's been some Arceus Charizard decks. An Arceus Charizard got top 64 and top 256 at Indiana, which those placements are actually relevant because there were over 1,000 people there. So like 64, top 256, both pretty good. You know, decks that are already playing Magma Basin or other cards that are workable with Magma Basin, and then you just toss Heatran into that. Pretty darn good single prize attacker, at least in theory. Oh yeah, Damage Pump. The card that's coming out alongside of Hisuian Zoroark, correct? That'll be in our next set. Oh, and there's also, I think it's called, like, the Gapejaw Stadium or something that's in this set. That could also be worked in with the Heatran potentially, but Magma Basin just works really well because of the fire typing. I'll give this card a 2 out of 5. Let's see. Golduck has Entrainment Dive. Discard both active Pokemon. You choose a new active Pokemon first. It needs water, colorless. I don't think that's going to be very reasonable to pull off, especially since our best water acceleration is Melanie, and that only goes to V Pokemon. So Bulk. Starmie V. Swift for 50, but then the Energy Spiral for water does 50 damage times the number of energy attached to your opponent's Pokemon in play, attached to all of their Pokemon. This could be a cracked card for Arceus and Teleon. You know, just attach, you can put this down out of nowhere and just attach Melanie to it. And if your opponent's playing Arceus and they have like 6 energy down, which is pretty typical for like a turn 2 Arceus play, then Energy Spiral does 300 damage. And to boot, this has free retreat. There's not a lot of good V Pokemon that also have free retreat. And I don't think that's to be underrated. So we're going to give Starmie a 3 out of 5. Arceus counter, Darkrai counter, can even be a Palkia counter. Yeah, that's good points. We have a lot of cards right now that want to either naturally accelerate a lot of energy to the board, or they want to have a lot of energy on their board. Maybe I could even bump Starmie V up to a 3.5. It's very reliant on what your opponent's board looks like, but the free retreat might just bump it up to a 3.5 for me. The free retreat's a pretty big deal in my book. Next we have Swinub and Piloswine and Mamoswine. All bulk. Sorry, PTCG Radio. One day we will get the playable Mamoswine. Okay, this one's just Mimi, right? Choose a basic Pokemon from either player's discard and play it to their owner's bench. gotta call this one bulk, but it's pretty funny. Like, I think anytime you want to do this, you just play Echoing Horn for now. So bulk. Regice has call for a basic and a move that doesn't matter because they'll just retreat or switch. Bulk. Frostveil 30, prevent all damage done by evolution Pokemon next turn. Bulk. Okay, we've got Origin Form Palkia V. Palkia V has the Domain Ruler. Search your deck for a Stadium card, reveal it, and put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. Not good. Just, like, I don't understand why they couldn't just have this say, put the Stadium into play. If it put the Stadium into play, I think that would actually be, like, pretty good. Like, this could be a card that you played even without the V-Star if it said put a Stadium card into play. Like, you go second, you attach a water to your Palkia V, you get a Path into play, or Temple of Sinnoh into play. Because, like, the thing is, in the current game, if you're leaving your main V Pokemon in the active after going second, that thing's usually getting knocked out, right? So, like, it's just not worth the search for an energy. Like, if you attach pass with this thing in the active after you were able to attack, or if you attach attack with this thing, it's probably just getting bopped. And then Hydro Break 200. So, on its own, this card is not good, not even worth talking about. But it evolves into Palkia VSTAR. Palkia VSTAR has 1 attack and 1 VSTAR power ability. The attack is 60 plus 20 more damage for each benched Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's. So if you have a full bench of 5 and your opponent has a full bench of 5, Spatial Swell does 260 damage. That's pretty good. With a choice belt, that's 290. You're knocking out every V-Star. And then with a Hawlucha, you'd be doing 320. Did I do that? Yeah, 320, knocking out most VMAXs. But you're typically going to want to play Greninja, Radiant Greninja in here, as opposed to the Radiant Hawlucha, because Radiant Greninja just works really, really well. We'll get to Radiant Greninja shortly. But 260 max damage. Maybe you play an Echoing Horn in here for when you need to force one more Pokemon onto your opponent's bench. Has anti-synergy with Avery and Collapse Stadium, so you probably won't be wanting to control your opponent's bench downwards. You want to control it by putting more Pokemon onto the bench. And then the Star Portal power ability thing is attach up to 3 water energy from your discard pile to your water Pokemon in any way you like. So I think this is really good for multiple reasons. The one thing I'm thinking about that I haven't seen in any lists, I'm not seeing any Palkia lists play Cheryl. And if they are, I'm just missing those lists. But I don't understand why Cheryl wouldn't be good. You swing with Spatial Swell, you get hit back, you Cheryl, and then you Star Portal. That just seems good to me. To build like a you know, pseudo tanky Palkia VSTAR kind of deck. Just seems good to me. But the Star Portal can also accelerate energies to your Radiant Greninja. It can put energies to Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX, etc., and so on. Doing really well in Japan. Right now, Palkia VSTAR is like one of the top decks in Japan. If I didn't know that, I'd probably give this card like a 3.5 to 4. But knowing how good it's actually performing, and I have played 0 games of Astral Radiance, I'm gonna give it like, I'm gonna give it a 4.5. So I think it's good because it's not reliant on Melanie, and some of the things the chat's saying, it's not reliant on Ludicolo either, like Suicune is, and it also has more HP, and it doesn't need Toughness Cape to survive a hit against most things. So I do think it's going to outclass Suicune, actually. But we'll have to see if that is actually how it goes. But I think it ends up outclassing Suicune because of its higher HP, its ability that means you don't have to play Melanie. And Lucas in the chat also mentioned Leon being playable with the card, since you don't need to Melanie if you use your Star Portal ability. But we will have to see how it does in the American format. But I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. I don't know if I'll be giving any cards in this set a 5 out of 5. I'll probably give trainer cards 5 out of 5. But Pokemon have to be held to a much harsher standard, because you could just pop one good trainer card into your deck. You know, you can pop a Cheryl into your deck, or a Charon into your deck, or one Marnie, one Escape Rope, and those can be really, really good cards. But with Pokemon, you can't just like use them as freely, especially when they have to evolve from something. So I'm a lot harsher when grading Pokemon cards as compared to trainers. Yo, what's up, Gassy? Yeah, one of Cheryl seems like it could be good in this deck. Alright, moving on. Bulk. Another good free attacker. It just searches your deck for 2 basics and bench them. This is kind of like the opposite of, or like maybe the counterpart of the Hisuian Voltorb, right? This one just for free searches for 2 basics and benches them. Also, I'm very interested in this one. I actually think I would rate this one higher than I would rate the Hisuian Voltorb. I think I would give this one like a 2.5. Because like for what it's meant to do, it's pretty darn good at it. And you can even use it later on in the game. It's not just for turn 1 going second like the Voltorb is. You can just use this, you know, later on. If you have like kind of a lull of a turn, you can just like send this up. Throw it in as a 5th Sobble and Inteleon engines. Yeah, that's a good point too. It's kind of like, have you ever wished you could keep calling in an Arceus Bibarel deck? Well, now you can. You send up Hisuian Basculin attached to your Arceus, and then schooling for like a Bidoof and another Arceus. Sounds pretty good to me. And I think at least one of the Hisuian Basket Legions are good. I forget if we got more than one. So for a water, it does 30, and if any of your Pokemon were knocked out by damage last turn, it does 90 more, and your opponent's active is now confused. So it does 120 plus confusion. So if you're already running this, and you're running it in a deck with water energy, you could consider this, but I'd say Baskia Legion itself is just a bulk card. But this one I'd give a 2.5 for the free schooling attack. And then we've got Keldeo that does a maximum of 110 for 2 energy. That's bulk. And then we have Radiant Greninja. Radiant Greninja is very good. So Radiant Greninja, of course, I don't know if we said this yet, but you can only have one Radiant Pokemon in your deck. That means, like, right now in Standard, we'll have Greninja, Hawlucha, and Heatran. You have to pick between one of them if you want to run any of them. You can't run one of each. It's just one Radiant Pokemon overall. It has the ability Concealed Card. You discard an energy and draw 2. That's very, very good. And then Moonlight Shuriken, discard 2 energy, and you do 90 to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. That could be active bench or double bench. And Palkia powers this up in just one turn. So Palkia can just, pop its V-Star power and get 3 water energies from the discard, put it onto Radiant Greninja. And then Radiant Greninja can just, like, knock out Double Drizzle, Sobble Drizzle, maybe not hit the active Arceus and then knock out its bench support. Aggro Frag in chat mentioned it could be a Malamar answer. Yeah, you could hit, like, Sobble / Drizzle plus benched Inkay. So, this card's really good. I'd probably just give it a 5 out of 5, because you can toss it into literally any deck. It discards any kind of energy and draws 2 cards. It could be special or basic. And then in water decks, it's like a Rapid Flow. It's almost like using Rapid Flow when it's in a water deck. Specifically in Palkia. Derek said, Hawlucha gets less value because it only targets VMAX. Yes, for sure, for sure. Hawlucha is a card I wish we got a couple sets ago, so it could have seen more love, but I also am glad that it doesn't just boost 30 damage on every V Pokemon, because then it would just be like, okay, we have to play this, the other Radiant Pokemon get no love. But it's good enough for some matchups in some decks that you will pick Hawlucha sometimes, so I like the decision that you have to make between playing Greninja or Hawlucha at the moment. Name a few good decks for, for the Shiny Greninja, for Radiant Greninja. Yeah, Palkia can use it. Turbo Dark wants it. Dialga. Yeah, Dialga can use it. I wonder if Dialga VSTAR will want this or Hawlucha. Because it does 220, 250 with a belt, 280 after Hawlucha to a VMAX, so it's probably just never one-shotting VMAXs with its V-Star attack. There's a lot of cards for the Astral Radiance meta, for sure. Greninja gets a 5 out of 5 for me, if I didn't say that already. We've got Bulk and Bulk. Galarian Mr. Rhyme V. Search your deck for 3 items and put them into your hand for a water. And then 90 plus damage if this Pokemon has a Pokemon tool attached. This does 90 more damage. Yeah, that's probably just Bulk. So this Luxray V, the first Lightning card we're looking at today, this Luxray V is quite interesting. The Fang Snipe does 30, and your opponent reveals their hand, discard a trainer card you find there. So with a double turbo, it is only going to do 10 damage, which is very much not impressive. But you get to look at your opponent's hand and hand pick a trainer card out of there and discard it. Like, if you just think about some hands you've drawn in your past few games of standard format, you could probably imagine that sometimes this is just going to end your game. Sometimes this is just going to take the only card that's making your next turn playable and get rid of it. And then you are on top deck mode, just like that. Sometimes it won't matter, because maybe you have an Arceus VSTAR or a Crobat V, or good cards that are not trainers that are going to help you out. But I think it's at the very least interesting. And then Radiating Pulse does 120, and you discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. Your opponent's active is now paralyzed. So I'm going to give this a 2 out of 5. At the moment, I actually think Fang Snipe just doesn't hit enough things in our current format, since we have Crobat V, and we have Drizzile, and we have Bibarel, we have Arceus V-Star, but with rotation, we lose Drizzile and we lose Crobat V. And I think losing those 2 cards will make decks more reliant on having a specific trainer card in their hand for the following turn. So I think Fang Snipe will get better with rotation, perhaps. Yeah, Marnie plus Path plus Luxray, not too bad. Molly VMAX does it better. Luxray with Sydney. Yeah, I think Lackey saying Malamar VMAX does it better might just be correct, but of course you can't use Malamar VMAX on turn 1. You can use Luxray V on turn 1 going second, which I think is where the appeal would be. Rotation, we don't know exactly when rotation is, but I think we know that the next rotation will be E block and on. So cards with the E on the bottom left for the regulation mark. Rotation is typically like August, September, though. Regieleki, Electromagnetic Sonar. Oh, did I give this a rating? 2 out of 5 if I didn't. Yeah, rotation's typically August or September. Regieleki has Electromagnetic Sonar for colorless energy. That's very nice. Put an item card from discard into hand. This could be a good control card if there's ever a deck that wants something like this. It really just depends what control looks like in any given metagame or format. And then Target Bolt, discard 2 lightning energy, and it does 120 to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. That's a little underwhelming. I think if this card's ever used, it's going to be used for Electromagnetic Sonar, and I'll give it a 2 out of 5 just because we've seen cards like this be important for control strategies before. 3 retreat to the fastest Pokemon in the game. Thank you, Creatures Inc. Hisuian Typhlosion. Ability Spectral Ball. Once during your turn, you may discard a psychic energy from your hand, and then the active is Burnt Confused. Shadowbind 90, they can't retreat next turn. Yeah, this card's bad. Bulk tier. Moving on to Hisuian Typhlosion V and V-Star. Hisuian Typhlosion V is a very cool card, but doesn't really do anything great. Singe for free burns them, and then Shivering Flames 120, choose a card from your opponent's hand without looking, reveal it, shuffle it into their deck. Just not strong enough of a reason to play this card. But Hisuian Typhlosion V-Star is a little bit better. Hollow Flame 180, and then put 3 damage on your opponent's benched Pokemon in any way you like. And Shadow Roaster is the V-Star attack for 1 Psychic. If your opponent's active Pokemon has 4 damage counters on it, it is knocked out. So that is the appeal of this card. Honestly, you might just run it in a deck that has Psychic Energy or can fit Psychic Energy in it, and just play like a 1-1 line of this. For the Shadow Roaster V-Star attack, because Hollow Flame is not that good. But you can set up other Pokemon to be knocked out with Shadow Roaster by like putting 2 damage counters on something on the bench and then quick shooting it the next turn. What if you made this the main part of the deck? The Typhlosion? You could, I just think it would be very underwhelming. I feel like it would be underwhelming, right? It needs 3 energy for the first attack, so you need a way to accelerate energy onto it. If the first attack was Psychic Colorless, I think that would automatically be a different story. But, for now, I'm giving it a 1 out of 5. Feel free to prove me wrong. I don't think this will see play. Okay, so the Togepi Togekiss line, I'm going to give them like a 1.5 out of 5. Togekiss, when you play it down, you heal 10 from your active. Togepi, you heal 30 when you evolve it. And Togetic, you heal 90 when you evolve it. So you could like play this in a deck that already has scoop up nets. Just like maybe a 1-1 line or like a 2-2-1 line or something like that to heal your Pokemon. Wait, I butchered the line names. Togepi, Togetic, and Togekiss? Is that the one we're talking about? No, wait. That's what they're called. Togepi, Togetic, and Togekiss. That's all of their names. Oh, no, did did I actually call them I said Togekiss, wait, Togekiss, Togepi, and Togetic. Did I really say that? That's funny. That's really funny. I give them like a 1.5. I could see them being useful, maybe. I thought you meant like this is pronounced Togekiss. I was like, oh god, no, it's not. Alright, let's see. Moving on to Mismagius. Ominous Chant. Your opponent reveals their hand if they have 4 or more cards. Choose cards until they have 3 remaining, and then shuffle the cards you chose back into their deck. I don't think that's good. Bulk. Bulk. This Gallade is interesting, but probably never going to be played in Standard. We'll call it Bulk. 1 out of 5. Bottom of the barrel. We have Drifloon. We have Drifblim. We have Uxie. Search your deck for a card and put it into your hand. Maybe if Uxie had a free attack, that would be okay. And then Azelf is also useless. And then Mesprit says if Uxie and Azelf are in play, your Pokemon have no weakness. That's great and all, but you have 3 useless cards in play to make that happen. So I'll definitely pass on these. Just bulk. Oh, Diancie, one of my favorite cards of the set. Look at this thing. Just look at it. Princess Curtain, as long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, whenever your opponent plays a supporter card, boss's orders from their hand prevent all effects of that card done to your benched basic Pokemon. And Spike Draw does 20 and you draw 2 cards. This card is amazing. This card is amazing. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. At the moment, I think it's only going to be used with Dialga VSTAR for now. No, I don't think it would stop Avery, because Avery is an effect on the player more so than on a specific Pokemon, I think. So do note that this only protects basic Pokemon, but it's still a big deal. You just don't evolve into Pokemon until you're comfortable with using them or you want to take the risk of them getting bosses ordered. Yeah, this is for basic Pokemon. But the Dialga VSTAR video I put out a few weeks ago uses 4 of these. Let me get that up. Let's find the list. Here we go. So this was like a Japanese list of Dialga VSTAR I found. Playing 4 of the DNC, and you just like chill and accelerate energy onto your Dialga V, and you just don't evolve anything until you're ready to go. And then you go in with the Dialga VSTAR. So I think the DNC is really cool. This is the only deck I know of for it at the moment, but I'm sure it'll be playable in other things eventually. What did I rate Radiant Heatran? I rated Radiant Heatran either a 1.5 or a 2. Either a 1.5 or a 2. Yo, what's up, Stellar Wish? Empoleon V's time is now. Yeah, Empoleon V, you put that in the active and then you can boss. But I don't know how many people would actually play Empoleon V just to get around DNC. DNC would have to be quite an issue if you're playing Empoleon V to get around it. Tried, Omnipoke tried Raichu V, Morpeko V, and DNC in the same deck. So, you Morpeko V to switch back into the DNC, and then you use Raichu like as a bomb. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, DNC gets 4 out of 5 for me. Cancel Cologne boss versus DNC. Cancel Cologne's going to be that card. We all know that card. Cancel Cologne will be that card that nobody actually wants to play to counter things. It's there, and they could play it, and it would win them games, but they aren't going to play it. Hashtag anti-cancel Cologne, cancel culture. Yup, and Empoleon V would get around Miltank too. But then in that case, you have to be playing a deck that can actually attack with Empoleon V. Whereas if you were just using it for the DNC, you would just like slap a balloon on it, put it out there, boss, and retreat it. Stantler, once a turn you could draw a card, and then Extra Century, it does 120 if you have... Okay. I've seen Japanese lists with this in their Zoroark decks, but I don't think it's good at all. I'd venture to say that I think it's bad. Oh, the super effective glasses makes it okay. We'll give it... We'll give it 1.5 stars. We'll give it 1.5. Hisuian, Growlithe, and Arcanine. Bad and bad. Oh, I remember Slurpluff. Puffy Toad. Machamp V is bulk, very bad. Machamp V Max, however, does do 120 for 2 energy. 220 for 2 energy. That's not bad. Machamp VMAX is not the worst. That's not complete binder. Especially since we have plenty of things to put damage onto our bench Pokemon. I'll give it a 2. I'll give it a 2. And I do like Machamp. Sudowoodo is just like, it's just like, here, put me in your Machamp deck, because it has damage counters on it, has a 0 retreat cost. Oh, but it's not good. Bulk. Bulk. Oh, I didn't know we are getting a regular art version of this Lucario. I mean, it's a card we already have. I'm not going to rate it. Bulk. Radiant Hall Lucha. When this is on your bench, your attacks do 30 more to your opponent's active VMAX. I'll give Radiant Hawlucha a 3 out of 5. So we've got Radiant Heatran at a 1.5, we've got Hawlucha at a 3, and we've got Greninja at a 5 out of 5. Am I going to be streaming more often? I don't really know, and I don't really have a plan for a schedule. In an ideal world, yes. We'll have to just see how ideal my world is. And, so yeah, I don't have a concrete answer for you, sorry. Hisuian Decidueye is bad. Bulk. And we've got Hisuian Decidueye V. So this is the one I was talking about where the V might actually get played more than the V-Star. So it has Mountain Hunt, search your deck for 2 cards and put them into your hand, and then Point Blank Shot that does 100 damage and it goes through effects. So it's a good card because not only does it give you a shred that knocks out Miltank, which is a new wall type Pokemon coming out in this set that says it can't be damaged by V Pokemon. But it also has Mountain Hunt, so like if you start it, it's not the worst thing because you could just use it to search your deck for any 2 cards. So, Hisuian Decidueye V, I'll give it a 2. I want to give it a 2.5, but that's probably overrating it. We'll give it a 2. And Hisuian Decidueye V-Star. Somersault Feather, 160 plus. You may discard up to 3 energy cards from your hand, and it does 30 more for each energy you discarded with a max of 90 more. So it can do 250 if you discard 3 energy cards from your hand, and then the ability says during your turn, you pop this V-Star power, and you get to draw until you have 8 cards in hand. I'm going to give this a 3. So I think this, basically right now, if you want to build a toolbox like Galarian, Baby Moltres, Clara, different attackers, you're either using Arceus V-Star or you're using no V-Stars. I think this gives you another option because not only does it have a good typing, can it one-shot things, it also has an ability that draws cards, similar to how Arceus V-Star searches out 2 cards. Sometimes you'd rather draw 8 cards than search for 2 specific cards. So I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. I think it certainly has the potential to be good, but it could also just be overshadowed by other things. So we'll have to see. Hey, Lucas, thank you for the tier 1 so much, pal. And thank you for the follows as well, everyone. Yeah, Stellar Wish, I'll be posting to, I'll be posting it to YouTube for sure. So Reverse God, I'm only giving this a 2 because Mountain Hunt searches for the cards as its attack. If Starbirth was an attack, nobody would be using it. Starbirth is only good because you can use it mid-turn. But yeah, El Trendy Beast, that's what's making me give this a 3 out of 5, is that I think it might be better for the, Baby Moltres package in many scenarios than Arceus. So we'll have to see. Hey, Snarka9. Yo, that's awesome. That's awesome. Glad to hear the Zygar worked out for you in some games. Heck yeah, man. Yeah, so I think the Hisuian Decidueye V-Star has potential. I'll give it a 3 out of 5 for now. I'm not super hyped on it, but it has potential. What I really just dislike is that you have to discard specifically energy cards to do more damage. But sometimes you don't need to do more than just, like, 140 with a double turbo plus 1 energy discard to do 170. You could just do 170 twice, right? And against fighting weak Pokemon, you don't need to discard that many cards. So when you think about it in terms of, I need to discard 3 energy from my hand for this attack to be worth it, it sounds awful if you always have to be discarding 3 energies. But if you think about it in terms of sometimes I can just discard one energy, sometimes I can discard no energy, and those get the job done, then it starts to sound better. It starts to sound better to me in theory when you put it that way. Cleavor could actually be solid in a Zoroark box style deck. But Wormadam probably takes the place over this 9 times out of 10, but it's not the worst. I'll give it a 1.5. Also, when I've been saying 1 out of 5, I've been using 1 as my floor. So 1, bulk, 0, those are kind of all interchangeable. If I think the card's any good, I'll say it's something else other than just a 1. Then we've got Cleavor V, but Cleavor VSTAR was left out of the set, I think. Or maybe there's like, is there a full art, a rainbow Cleavor VSTAR? I guess we'll see at the end. But Cleavor V has really nothing too special about it. Yeah, Cleavor V is just bulk. We've got Hisuian Quillfish and Hisuian Quillfish. And then we've got Hisuian Overquill and Hisuian Overquill. So the first Hisuian Overquill does 120 if you have at least 3 dark energy in play. That's awful. And then the other one poisons your opponent for free, and it does 5 damage in between turns, but it's not Galarian Wheezing, so that's awful. So these are bulk. Hisuian Sneasel and Hisuian Sneasler. As long as this is on your bench, your active Pokemon retreat cost is 2 less. Could be potentially okay for like a Zoro box, or maybe if like some kind of control or stall deck is in the meta that like specifically decks you out by trapping things in the active with like Galar Mine or something. But I'll give it a 1.5 because it's not bulk, but that's as high as it goes. Hisuian Sneasler V is pretty awful as well. It does Dire Claw for Dark Colorless, and it does 80. Its base damage is 0, and it does 80 damage times for each special condition affecting your opponent's active Pokemon. And yeah, unless we're affecting something with 4 special conditions at once and very easily, I'm not interested, so this is bulk. Poochyena, Mightyena. The Mightyena is actually pretty good. If your opponent has any VMAXs in play, this Pokemon's attacks cost 3 colorless less. So Wild Tackle is a free attack if your opponent has any VMAXs in play, and then it does 50 damage to itself. So essentially, this just bops a Mew VMAX. You might need a belt or super effective glasses on it if the opponent has an Oricorio in play, but other than that, you just get to knock out a Mew VMAX for free. This will go into any Zoroark Stage 1s kinds of decks. I think we're going to call this a 3 because it is very specific in what it counters, and there are so many decks that don't even consider playing a VMAX right now, that it feels pretty specific. So just a 3, because it does what it's trying to do very well, but it doesn't do much outside of that. So, like you could tech this into your Zoroark Stage 1's deck and only get use out of it in like 1 or 2 rounds out of 9 rounds, right? Like if all you hit are Mew VMAX, if the only VMAX decks you hit are Mew VMAX, and maybe you hit like 1 or 2 others, and you hit 2 Mew VMAX on the day, this is going to get you value in like 1 or 2 of your games. So that's kind of how I'm thinking about this card. It's good at what it does, but it's very niche at what it does. So, but Mew VMAX is a card worth teching for, so, which gives us a 3. Because if this countered something that was, like, not even worth teching for, that maybe you'll see once sometimes in some tournaments, then I would just give it a bulk rating. But since it counters Mew VMAX and it does it well, I think it's a 3. Absol does Sweeping Calamity. For a dark, it does 10 to all of your opponent's Pokemon. I think that's pretty good. It sets up Hisuian Samurott to do things. And then Clawrend does 120 if the defending already has any damage on it. I'm going to give this a 2 out of 5. Just, you know, easy little 10 spread on everything for a dark is not bad. Probably one of the better holo rares in the set. Then we have Darker IV. Darker IV is actually so bad. Darker IV is so bad. Absolute bulk card. But then we have Darker IV Star, which is better. So Darker IV Star has Dark Pulse, 30 plus damage. It does 30 more for each dark energy attached to all of your Pokemon. And the ability Star Abyss, you can get any 2 item cards from your discard pile into your hand. So it is comparable to Starbirth in the way that Starbirth can get any 2 cards out of your deck. This gets any 2 item cards that you've already used or discarded out of your discard pile back to your hand to use again. So some of the most obvious things you could use this with include like Dark Patch, just like use 2 Dark Patches, then get them back. Maybe this means cross switchers are playable in the deck. Just like Ultra Ball, Quick Ball. Maybe you need to draw more cards. You get a Quick Ball to get a Crobat V. So Darker IV Star, I think is, let's see. If you have 8 energy on board, you're doing 270, which will one-shot many V-Stars. You also have counters in the format. You have, like, Lucario V-Star's R-Star attack. You have grass Pokemon like Lilligant. You have the new Starmie V. I think I'm going to give Darker IV Star a 3.5 out of 5. I don't think it's as good as people think it is, but it is good. Yo, Mango. What's up, buddy? What did I rate Voltorb? I gave Voltorb either a 2 or a 1.5, I believe. Because Voltorb seems very very, very good when it's good. And then if you go first, it's a dead card in your deck and you're playing a 59 card deck. So that's kind of where I'm at on it. I thought Battle VIP Pass would be horrible in everything outside of Mew, and it is actually playable in things that aren't Mew. So I could also be wrong about Hisuian Voltorb. But yeah, this Darkrai card is good. I don't think it's amazing. It's somewhere between good and great, but it's not amazing. We have Hisuian Samurott. Once a turn, discard a card from your hand, draw 3 cards. And then 60 plus damage, 20 more times the amount of energy attached to all of your Pokemon. This card could be played at some point. Like, we had Swampert just 4 years ago being played in a regional winning deck that did the same thing. I'm going to give it a 1.5. It's going to take some effort, but this thing could be, this could be played. Now we're going on to Hisuian Samurott V. Zigzag Drop. Discard up to 2 Pokemon tools attached to your opponent's Pokemon in play, and then Shadow Slash 180. Discard energy from this Pokemon. The V, again, is pretty useless, but honestly, this is one of the best V arts in the set. This is a crazy looking art. Like, for a regular art V that will probably be worth like $2 to $5, that's some sick artwork. And then we go on to Hisuian Samurott VSTAR, which is the main attraction for the Samurotts. It has an attack and a V-Star ability. The attack is Merciless Blade. It does 110 for 2 dark. And if the active Pokemon has any damage on it, it does 110 more for a total of 220. So 220 for 2 energy. And it's a circumstantial 220, but it's very easy to make happen between having that Absol we discussed and Zigzagoon, and even the ability right on Hisuian Samurott V-Star. Once a turn, you may put 4 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. So it has synergy with its own ability. So if you have a Choice Belt on and you put those 4 damage on, you put 4 damage, then you do 250, totaling for 290. With a Hawlucha, that's 320 against VMAX Pokemon. But, as someone in chat has mentioned, Mooncutting Star also pairs very well with Medicham's Yoga Loop. So Yoga Loop does puts 2 damage counters on something for 2 energy, And if you knocked out the Pokemon with those 2 damage counters, you take an extra turn. And Mooncutting Star, just, if you go first and you bench a Hisuian Samurott V, your opponent better start sweating. Because on turn 2, you're going to Mooncutting Star 4 damage on a Sobble and then Yoga Loop it. And then just take another turn. Sounds crazy. Sounds very, very good. There's a Japanese list that is like a very toolboxy, like limitless Urshifu type build that has a 1/1 Samurott VSTAR in it that I've been very excited to try. Just play Bibarel for it. Then they need a Zigzagoon plus the Mooncutting Star, right? So Hisuian Samurott VSTAR, I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. I don't think it breaks the game. I think it's quite good. I also think the part of why I think it's good is because of its pairing with Yoga Loop. Which isn't exactly, like, guaranteed, right? It's not guaranteed that you're going to get the Yoga Loop off. You need a double turbo or 2 attachments or a Rapid Strike energy. Plus, you need to evolve the Hisuian Samurott. Plus, if your opponent's playing Path to the Peak, you need to bump it to use the Mooncutting Star. So, I think this card's good. I don't think it's busted. I think Darkrai is going to be best with just, like, other dark Pokemon. Reverse God. I've seen lists that are very, very, like, straightforward with some Celebrations Muse, and then, like, Baby Moltres and Big Galarian Moltres, a hefty Darkrai line, things like that. I think will probably be the way to go with it. And just also mixing dark Pokemon that are weak to different things if possible, so you don't just, like, scoop to a grass matchup. So yeah, this we're giving 4 out of 5. We have Bulk. The Befuddle. I talked about this one in the pack opening video today. If your opponent has 2 or fewer prize cards remaining, supporter cards played from your opponent's hand have no effect on your benched Pokemon V. So, like, if this was a basic Pokemon, I'd probably be, like, really hype about it. But it's a stage 1 Pokemon, so I'm really not that hype about it. But it does protect you from losing to boss a Crobat V for game. So there is that, but it's a stage 1. So you have to fit a 1/1 line at minimum of this and then get it out, and then get it out on the right turn. So it's pretty situational. I don't know if it's worth the deck space. I'll give it a 1.5. It's more than Bulk because it has some interest to it, but, like, I don't think it'll actually do anything. Magnemite, Magneton, and Magnezone. Magnezone has the ability Giga Magnet. Once a turn, you may look at the top 6 cards of your deck, choose any number of metal energy you find there, and attach those energy to your Pokemon in any way you like. So they're going, the thing they were going for with this was to make this your partner for Dialga VSTAR, which we haven't even gotten to yet, but I don't think this ends up being the partner for Dialga VSTAR. I don't really like it too much. Yo, Real Sunny, bro. Let's go. Let's go, everyone. We're in the middle of doing the Astral Radiance set review. Yeah, the Magnezone is once a turn. So that is something, that's a redeemable quality of it. Yo, what's up, Sunny? Sunny, for those who don't know, Real Sunny Games and I live like 30 minutes away from each other. He's coming over tomorrow to practice for Jersey. And he and I have been friends since I was in middle school, so... Thank you so much for the raid, dog. Thanks so much. Oh, what are the promos? Yeah, somebody in chat asked what the promos are. The promos are Wordier, Basculegion, Samurott, and Magnezone. That's why I thought there was 2 Basculegions, because one of them's the promo. Alright, let's resume. Yeah, the game is exciting again. Ever since Evolving Skies, I think the game has been, like, exciting again for me. That's when they really started dishing out, like, multiple good cards per set. Like, multiple, like, potentially meta-changing cards per set and stuff like that. Alright, where were we? We were on Magnezone. So Magnezone's going to get a 2 out of 5 from me. So this card is, like, in a vacuum. Like, if you told somebody about this card years ago, like, depending on what format we were in, it could have sounded, like, broken. It's, like, okay right now. It could work. I wouldn't be, like, if you go first and you're playing Dialga VSTAR, and then, like, on turn 2, you hit the candy for this, and you can, like, stack an energy in any way, like Instruct, Rotom Phone, etc., or if you even just get lucky with a Giga Magnet on turn 2, like, it could be cracked. Oh, the metal supporter is Adaman. We'll get to that, though. It gets any 2 cards, actually, Trendy. It gets any 2 cards from the deck, so that's a very good point. It could just get you your Candy Magnezone. That's an interesting card, too. I think it's pretty cool. But yeah, we're going to give Magnezone a 2 out of 5 for now. Registeel, not good. Actually, yeah, not good. Hey, Victor Natty with the 12 months at Tier 1. Thank you so much for the sub, guys. Yeah, I've been on a little bit of a Twitch break, but we're back. We're back in action. Each of your Pokemon takes 30 less damage from the attacks of your opponent's Pokemon V. 30 damage is typically not going to make too much of a difference, and it's on a stage 2, so bulk, 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 bulk. Real Sunny gifting a Tier 1 sub over to Javiz Gaming. Thank you. Thank you, Sunny. Much appreciated. We've got Bronzong here. Now, there is a good Bronzong in format. The one that lets you move your metal energy around. And so if there's ever just a mono fire deck out there that beats your metal deck, you've got Heat-Proof Bronzong that says it can't be damaged by fire Pokemon. This has worked before. This has worked as recently as the Players' Cup, where a Luke Metal deck stalled out a Centiskorch deck with Heat-Proof Bronzong, because this is a reprint. And it's not an exact reprint, but there has been a Bronzong with Heat-Proof before that could not be hit by fire Pokemon. So this is a card that, like, it's typically not going to be good, and it can be in the format for like 3 years, and there will be like one tournament out of those 3 years where it's like, okay, we're on Heat-Proof Bronzong, but the card just bulk for the rest of the time. So this is a card that I'll give a 2 out of 5, because typically it's not going to be good, but it will have its moment at some point, because we've seen this card have its moment before. And actually before that, in 2016 or 17, Grant Manley got second at a regionals in standard format with the Araquanid that had the same ability. So we've seen these abilities come up before. Yo, what's up, Stoobs? It's the Stoobs guy. What's up? On to Dialga V, one of the most exciting cards of the set, probably. Metal coat, attach up to 2 metal from your discard to this Pokemon. Not bad if you can, like, pair it with a toughness cape or a big charm or something to ensure this thing will survive next turn. And then, so the V is just a stepping stone for the V-Star. If I had to rate the V on its own, its bulk, it's, 1 out of 5. But the V-Star, very, very cool. 280 HP, so it's bulky to start out with. Dialga, Palkia, and Arceus all have 280 HP. And the V-Star attack is Chronos Star for metal, 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 colorless. It does 220, and then you take another turn after this one. So like I mentioned, I do have a video on my YouTube talking about a deck list for this with the Diancie, just kind of giving yourself time, building it like Primal Groudon from back in the day. So this 220, if you could take a knockout with that, and then you get to take another turn, it's disgusting. And then on top of that, Metal Blast does 40 plus 40 more for each metal energy attached to this Pokemon. So if you just used Chrono Star for 5 energy, Metal Blast is doing a minimum of 240. If you attach another for turn, it does 280. And then if you attach a Choice Belt on top of that, that's 310. So the Origin Form Dialga VSTAR, I think, might be... I would say it has the more potential than any other take an extra turn card has ever had, but we have Yoga Loop going on right now, right? Yoga Loop's pretty good. Yoga Loop is almost a thing that's played to make your opponent play around Yoga Loop so they don't get Yoga Looped, and it doesn't even happen that much. But this is a card where you can't stop them from just announcing Chrono Star. So I'm giving this a risky 4 out of 5. I'm giving it a risky 4 out of 5. There might be, like, this is a card that I could see people being on all ends of the spectrum with. Like, people could be giving it 1s, people could be giving it 5. I'm going to call it a 4 out of 5. I have high hopes for this card. You know, thank you for gifting a sub over to Stoob, Sonny. Much appreciated. Yeah, I don't know about you guys in chat, but let me know. Am I huffing the copium here, or do you guys also think this might just be a good card? Yeah. Hey, stupid, thank you for paying the sub forward and gifting one over to Hollerman TCG. Much love. Thank you, brother. Hey, man, I was close to playing Gyarados with you. I encouraged you to play Gyarados, so I'm as much to blame for that one. Yeah, it's so tough to call, right? Like, either this just gets sent straight to the binder, or it's actually broken. So I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. Pawniard and Bisharp Bulk. Wild Drummer asked if Magnezone is capped to just 1 Magnezone. We could check that. No, it looks like if you have multiple Magnezones set up, you could do that multiple times. So if you have 2 Magnezones, you could use 2 Giga Magnets, I believe. Yeah, I mean, Metal Saucer, you could just play 4 Metal Saucers in 1 turn, right? There's a lot of support for this dude right now in our current standard. This is all bulk. We've got Garchomp V. Garchomp V. The character rare or trainer gallery for this one actually looks very cool, by the way. Garchomp V with Sonic Strike, discard 3 energy from this Pokemon and do 220 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So this could be good in some sort of Arceus deck, in the way that Flygon V can be good in some sort of Arceus deck. In a metagame where Manaphy is not being included in decks. So we're going to give this a 1 out of 5. I'm sorry, guys. If any Garchomp stands are out there, no offense, we're giving this one a 1 out of 5. Oh, Gassy, I was thinking about that. I was watching a Always Sunny compilation last night. I couldn't get you saying, I got boxes of Pepe out of my head. Oh, man. So, guys, just a short little side quest here from the set review. For anybody that watches Always Sunny and knows the infamous Pepe Sylvia scene, where Charlie's like, I got boxes full of Pepe. I was talking about a deck. Me and Gassy were talking about a deck, and I was like, oh yeah, I've been trying to make this work. It might have been Galarian Weezing, because I'm always trying to make something with Galarian Weezing work. And Gassy was just like, I got boxes full of Pepe. It was quite funny at the time. The rulings fact for Astral Radiance just dropped, by the way. Oh, okay. Was that shared on Facebook? I'll take a look-see. Alright, but anyway, moving on. Regidrago, once a turn, if this Pokemon's your active Pokemon, you may draw cards until you have 4 cards in your hand. You can't use more than 1 Dragon Treasures. So basically, this is worse Kricketune because if it's on your bench, it does nothing, and it has 3 retreat. The issue is it has 3 retreat. If this had 2 retreat, I'd be like, great. Balloon, we're drawing some cards, it has 3 retreat. No balloon. Maybe when Floatstone comes back in a year, we'll play Regidrago as a draw engine. But for now, not good. Eevee, once a turn, when you play a card from your hand to evolve one of your other Eevee, you can search your deck for a card that evolves from this Pokemon play. We don't have good Eevees, so get us some good Eevees and then we'll talk. Hoot Hoot. As long as this Pokemon's in play, basic energy attached to your benched Pokemon can't be discarded by the effects of your opponent's items and supporters. So where was this card, oh, I don't know, about, say, a year and a half ago? That's what I would love to hear where this card was about a year and a half ago. Fan of Waves still works, yeah. Yeah, during the dark times of Darkness Ablaze format, when, you know, I just about wanted to quit the game, where was Hoot Hoot? Yeah, so I don't think it's that good right now. It's benched Pokemon only and basic energy only. I'll give it a 1.5 out of 5. So yeah, I don't think it's that great. Poke Beach always puts in some memes in their translations. Silent Wing says your opponent reveals their hand, then smack them. So bulk Hoot Hoot 1.5. Teddy Ursa, bad. Ursaring, bad. Ursaluna. I actually am just finding out now that Ursaluna has a stage 2. I thought Ursaluna was just like a side evolution. Like, you can evolve into Ursaring or Ursaluna. Huh. Well, Ursaluna is utter bulk. Stantler is bad. Miltank. Miltank is getting some play over in Japan. So that's always a good way to gauge if the card's, like, you know, at least playable or has at least some potential. It got top 8 at the recent 1,600 plus person Champions League. It was a Blissey V Miltank deck. We haven't seen the list for it yet, but I do talk about it in tomorrow's video. And then it has the attack Kickabout, 10 plus 20 more for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon, so it could do a maximum of 110 before any other damage modifiers. But prevents all damage done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Pokemon V. It does not prevent effects, and there is this pesky card called Mew VMAX that has the Max Miracle attack that can go through this as well. But it does prevent all damage from opponent's Pokemon V Pokemon as long as they don't have something like Max Miracle that goes through it. Oh yeah, you could slap a pot helmet on this and then Mew VMAX needs a power tablet to knock it out. That's a great point. That's a great point, Gassy. I don't know if I told you, Gassy, but this is something I should share with the class. At some point in my fever dream state 2 weeks ago, trying to break the format, I was looking for a second Big Charm for an Arceus Bibarel deck. And looking through my trainer cards, I found a pot helmet. And I saw the pot helmet, I'm like, this is broken. Why are we not just playing one big charm, one pot helmet? You know, for decks that do like a smaller amount of damage twice, this will prevent 60 damage done to our Arceus. So like I sent it to my group chat, to the Cutter Tap chat. I was like, guys, this card's broken. We're playing one big charm pot helmet in every Arceus deck. I went to the bathroom, I came back, and everybody's like, you're an idiot. Like, read the card. It's actually unusable in this deck. I like felt so like I felt like I had an aha moment. So Pot Helmet says if it's attached to a Pokemon that doesn't have a rule box, it takes 30 less damage from your opponent's Pokemon. I guess I had like some flash dyslexia or something, because I thought it said this Pokemon takes 30 less damage from your opponent's Pokemon that have rule boxes. So I thought it was like 30 less damage incoming from rule box Pokemon, but it's 30 less damage from all Pokemon if your Pokemon doesn't have a rule box. So yeah, that's not how Pot Helmet works. But it would work for Miltank, because Miltank doesn't have a rule box, so it takes... oh, wait. No. It doesn't work for Max Miracle, Gassy. It doesn't work for Max Miracle. Max Miracle goes through the effects. Oh, man. Back to square one, huh? Okay, so yeah, Miltank's getting a toughness cape, boys. Miltank gets a toughness cape. Yeah, cape of toughness for sure. I always call cape of toughness cape. That's what looking at cards before they come out in English does to your head. Oh, the cow that almost could. Anyway, moving on. I'll give Miltank a 3 out of 5. I think it'll see play. Okay, chat top, bulk. This Regigigas is cool. It's very convoluted. It's bulk. Not good. This set review is probably going to be 2 hours, so I'm just going to start skipping by things that are bulk. Rufflet, Hisuian Braviary. Bad. Oranguru V is actually just, like, pretty bad. Search your deck for 2 Pokemon tools. Wow, I've always wanted to put a Pokemon into the active spot just to get a tool, and then remove it from the active spot. And then Psychic is, like... Psychic's not bad. Again, this is like the Starmie V all over again. It does 50 more for each energy. Oh, it's attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. It is not the Starmie V all over again. This card is not good. What's a Pokemon going to have? Other than Dialga VSTAR, your opponent's active probably has 3 energy max on it. So this does like 180. Yeah, this isn't good. Okay. This is bulk. But the word here now. So, when this Pokemon moves from your bench to become your active Pokemon, you may move any number of energy from your other Pokemon to it. And it does 40 damage times the amount of energy attached to this Pokemon. So, this could be used as like a finisher. Like, let's say you have Arceus and you put 3 energy onto something else, then you attach an energy next turn. You could do like 280 plus a belt, maybe. You could reach numbers that Arceus VSTAR can't reach on its own, which makes it interesting. And as chat said, it could work with Darkrai or Darkbox. So like if you have like, I don't know, I think 6-7 energy with Darkrai VSTAR will not be that uncommon with the birds and with Dark Patch. So if you have like 7 energy, 7 times 4 is 280. Switch into this, swing 280. You'll be doing more damage with your dark energy than you would be doing with Darkrai with the dark energy. Because Darkrai is 30 plus 30 for each one. So that would be, with 7, that does 240. If you switch into this and just put it all on the word here for like one final knockout, it would be doing more than your Darkrai would. So, I'll give this card a 2.5. It's very, very versatile, so I'll give it that. Yeah, 2.5. And that's it for Pokemon. Yeah, give it 2.5 Wassies. Exactly. On to the trainers, we have Adaman. This card, right before getting on to stream, I thought this could be, like, I was looking at this card, and I think it's pretty good. Discard 2 Metal Energy cards from your hand, and then search your deck for 2 cards. Just 2 cards. Not 2 items, not 2 trainers, just 2 cards. I don't think it's bad. Like, this is the kind of card that either it's going to be like a guaranteed inclusion in metal decks, or we're never going to see it again after this video, or after this stream, or whatever this is. So, I don't know, chat. Let's hear. This is very much a, like, copium, or, like, is this copium or not kind of card. Yeah, people have been using the Crasher Wake argument, which was just this but water energy. But it's any 2 cards, man. It's any 2 cards. I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 5. Steuben says 1.5 little Stoobs out of 5. I'm saying 3.5. 3.5 Celios out of 5. Next we've got Canceling Cologne. Your opponent's active Pokemon has no abilities until the end of this turn, including Pokemon that move to the active spot. So, Canceling Cologne would get through Miltank, it gets through Zamazenta V, it gets through Duraludon VMAX, it gets through Diancie. But it's an item card that your opponent is going to be stubborn and not include in their deck. That being said, I think it's like a 2.5 out of 5. Very, very circumstantial, but it does what it needs to do. Yeah, I got you, Lucas. So, about Adaman, because of Metal Saucer, you can get 3 energy down in 1 turn. Like, guaranteed. Yeah, right. Like, even if you don't have any other Metal Saucers. So you can, so you can attach manually and then add them in for double Saucer. And you're guaranteed to have the energies in the discard because of the Metal Saucer. So yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking in terms of this card as well. In Japan, they've used it for Boss Up the Manaphy, and then Canceling Cologne, and then Rapid Flow. That sounds very convoluted. I think I'd rather Boss the Manaphy and hit it with a Baby Hoop, and then try Rapid Flow next turn, than play this card in my deck. In theory. So yeah, I'm giving Adaman 3.5 Celios and Canceling Cologne 2.5 Celios. Choi, both players reveal their hands and then you draw 3 cards. Bulk. Silene, flip 2 coins for each heads. Choose a card from your discard pile and put it on top of your deck in any order. This card is very good. 3.5 out of 5. It's not a card that will be included in heavy counts, and it won't be included in every deck, but it's very good at the niche that it's filling. Now, Luke, guess what I'm going to ask you for tomorrow? I don't know. Yeah, so I think this is good. I've seen this in Mew decks. You'll see it in my I have a video tomorrow looking at some Japanese decks, and you'll see them using Silene in that. Oh god, but if you're watching, okay, so if you're watching this live, it's a video that comes out tomorrow, but if you're watching this in a video, then that video that I'm talking about has already come out. The timeline's very messed up. Don't time travel. It's messy. So dark patch, 5 out of 5 card. Obviously a busted card, you know, every patch or saucer or whatever is busted in their own right. Yeah, 5 out of 5 card. I don't think we really even have to go into this. Energy Lotto, happy to see Energy Lotto back. It's a card that I've actually mentioned before it was revealed. This is a card that I've brought up and been like, if only Energy Lotto was around, I would want to put this in my deck. So Energy Lotto, I think, is a 3 out of 5 card. It's never a broken card, but it's such a useful card to have around for deck building. Yes, Vile Hockey, I am going to New Jersey. I am. Can't wait. Featherball, search your deck for a Pokemon with 0 retreat cost. Okay, so this is a weird one because it's like kind of as good as your 0 retreat cost Pokemon are. So like if this was out when Jolteon VMAX was pretty good, then this would have been a great card. Um I think it stays at about a 3 out of 5. Just it's just a very in the middle card because if a good evolution line comes out that all have free retreat or something, or a strong V Pokemon that you use multiple of in a deck, then Featherball just becomes a lot better. But it fills a specific niche, so I'm just gonna put it in the middle at 3 out of 5. Gapejaw Bog. Whenever a player plays a basic from their hand to their bench, they place 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. This is also pretty circumstantial, but some decks will want to have it in their deck. I'll also give this one a 3 out of 5. Like back when Team Magma's base was around, Drampaguard played that, and Zoroark Drampa played that just because Drampa wanted damage counters on your bench. So we have things like the new Hisuian Zoroark VSTAR coming out, and we've looked at cards today as well, like Machamp VMAX and Radiant Heatran that want to damage their own Pokemon. What if you mustered out a bee? Gassy, you know the answer to that is no. Because it's not a basic Pokemon, and it's not from your hand. I think Gassy just wants to be that person in Twitch chat. It gives me one of these oh, Mr. Network kind of questions. All right, next we have Gardenia's Vigor or Vigor. I always struggle with this word. Draw 2 cards and attach up to 2 grass energy cards from your hand to one of your benched Pokemon. I hate that it has to be benched Pokemon, but it kind of balances itself out by drawing the cards prior to the grass energy. So I give it a 4 out of 5. It's not as good as Welder, in my opinion, because Welder could go to the active, and it drew an extra card. However, this one draws the cards prior to attaching the energy, so you get an extra shot at drawing into an energy or 2 if you need them. But I don't think it's as good as Welder, because it has to be to your bench. Also, grass Pokemon are typically a lot less aggressive than fire Pokemon were, but it's good. I'll give it a 4. Gardenia. Yeah, that Gardenia was not the word I was struggling with, but thank you. Next we have Grant. So your fighting Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage this turn, and if this card is in your discard pile, you may discard 2 cards from your hand to put it back into your hand. That is such an interesting thing. Like, it doesn't have to have been played this turn. It just has, like, a Versus Seeker written into the card, right? Like, it's actually so sick, and why don't they do this kind of thing more? I think it can be recurred whenever. I don't think it has to be the turn you played it. So I'm gonna give it a 2.5 out of 5. It's just for fighting Pokemon, right? And it is your supporter for turn. Actually, no, I'm giving it a 2 out of 5. For as cool as it is, it's your supporter for turn, and it's only for fighting Pokemon. But it is cool. It's interesting. It is interesting. Then we have Gutsy Pickaxe, also fighting type support. Reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a fighting energy, attach it to one of your benched Pokemon. Otherwise, reveal it to your opponent and put it into your hand. So at worst, you draw a card. That's great. When the card tells me we've got some stuff that you could do, like we've got some RNG stuff going on, or you need to set it up, but if you don't get there, if you don't set it up and luck's not in your favor, at least you get to draw a card. That's great. I'm always down for that. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5, just because it's a draw one card at worst. And at best, you're accelerating a fighting energy for an item card, which sounds great. 4 of in Mew. Yeah, imagine just 4 Gutsy Pickaxes in Mew. Hisuian Heavy Ball. Look at your face-down prize cards, get a basic from there, put Hisuian Heavy Ball back in there, and then shuffle your prizes, set them face down. I love this card. I kind of want to give it a 5 out of 5. I kind of want to give it a 5 out of 5. You only ever play one. You only ever play one. But I think this could just be so impactful. Exactly. It can't get an evolution. It has to be a basic Pokemon. So I think we're going to give it a 4.5. 4.5 Celios out of 5 Celios. Now, next is Irida, or Irida, or Irida. Irida. Okay. So, supporter card, you search your deck for a water Pokemon and an item card. Now, here's the dealio with Celio. Dealio with Celio, that's the podcast coming out next week. In current standard format, this card is a 5 out of 5 because of the Drizzle engine. But I don't know how good it is past that. But we're just slapping 5 out of 5 on this baby. I think this is the only 5 out of 5 we're talking about today. On the dealio with Celio. Yeah, I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. Is playing 4V, 4 Peonia, and 4 Hisuian Heavy Ball to play. I mean, if you play 4 of your V, you have pretty good odds that your Hisuian Heavy Ball will hit it, right? Yeah, this is a great card. Oh, right, yeah, I said Dark Patch is a 5 out of 5. So, Dark Patch and Irida are both 5 out of 5, I think. And then we have Jubilife Village. Once a turn, that player may shuffle their hand into their deck, draw 5, and their turn ends. I'm going to give this one a 3.5 out of 5. it's not as good as Tropical Beach. Some decks will love this card. Other decks will have no point in playing it other than just like a turn 1 play that you have to draw into on turn 1 going first or turn 1 going second. Actually, is it a 4 out of 5? It ends your turn. How many decks do I go second with and then not attack? Like, not decks that I purposely choose to go second with. Like, Arceus decks. Like, would an Arceus deck ever play this as their one of non-Path to the Peak Stadium? Obviously, if any control decks exist, this could be good for them. It's kind of great going first, but you have to draw into it going first. And I have seen Mew decks in Japan play one of this, and I didn't necessarily agree with it. Just because, like, you only want it, like, turn 1. Yeah, I'm going to settle on a 3.5 out of 5 for this one. Kamado, discard all cards from your hand except 1 card, then draw 4 cards. You're never playing this with research in the format, but it's not awful. So I'm going to say it's a 2 out of 5. Hey, Samedo Show, thank you for the raid of 45. Let's go. Thank you, thank you. Hope you had a good stream there. Tri-State, turning in, got some pre-releases to run this weekend. That's awesome. Heck yeah. Great review so far. Overall set review on a scale of 1 to 5. Personally, you're giving this a 4 out of 5 because it's bloated with some V's and stuff. Yeah, I was thinking that earlier today. I think I'd call this... I'd probably call this set a 5 out of 5, honestly. Maybe a 4.5 out of 5. It's somewhere between there. I'm not really sure, because I think Brilliant Stars was also very great, but Arceus VSTAR being in the set really, really buffed it up. I think I would call this one a 5 out of 5. It has Roxanne, it has Dark Patch, it has Hisuian Heavy Ball, it has Irida, it has many playable V-Stars. Yeah, it's a 5 out of 5 set, I think. So Kamado gets a 2 from me. Roxanne, you can only play this if your opponent has 3 or less prize cards left. Both players shuffle their hands into their deck. You draw 6 cards and your opponent draws 2. I'm going to say this is a 5 out of 5 card for what it's trying to do. You know, like, it's not every great card is going to be like a 4 of in every deck. Yeah, I think it's a 5 out of 5. We needed a card like this, in my opinion. That's a great way to put it, Trendy. Brilliant Stars helped... It helped make decks out of cards we already had, right? Like, we got new decks, but a lot of them were out of cards we already had, whereas Astral Radiance is making brand new archetypes. So yeah, I like Roxanne. Spicy Seasoned Curry. Heal 40 from your active, and your active is now burnt. Bad. Yeah, I don't think this is good. Super effective glasses. The Pokemon this card is attached to does damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. That damage is affected by weakness. The weakness becomes ×3 instead. There's some times where this will never matter, and then there's other cards that you will only play because of this. So, like, in a Zoro box, this is insane. I think it gets a 3 out of 5. I think it gets a 3 out of 5. Because any, like, single prize deck where you would want to play Choice Belt, I think you... Because, like, single prize decks that play Choice Belt are usually playing Choice Belt to tick into hitting their weakness Pokemon for a one-shot. So super effective glasses will just do that better. So, 3 out of 5. Sweet Honey, choose a Pokemon, flip a coin until you get Tails, heal 40 damage from that Pokemon. Bad. Switch cart, switch your active basic Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon, and then heal 30 from the Pokemon that move to your bench. Bad. Temple of Sinnoh. Each special energy attached to Pokemon in play provides colorless energy and has no other effect. This is good. This is good. This is Crystal Beach reprint. 5 out of 5. Love this card. Gives more decks more reasons to play stadium bumps. Because currently, like, there are decks that are playing Path, and then there are decks that are afraid of Path, so they play stadiums. And then there are other decks that don't care about anything, so they play like a training court. So this will make more decks want to play more stadiums, and if they don't, they can be punished for it. It also might cause decks to play less special energies or be less reliant on special energies. So I'm a fan of Temple of Sinnoh. I give it a 5 out of 5. Trekking Shoes, look at the top card of your deck. You may put that card into your hand or discard it and draw one card. This is most of the time worse than Acrobike, but sometimes better than Acrobike. Because if the first card you saw is a card you want, you draw it, then you don't have to discard another card. But I think most of the time you'd rather look at both and then discard/draw with the full knowledge of both cards, as opposed to discarding the top one to then draw a random. So I'm going to give this like a 4 out of 5, whereas Acrobike is a 5 out of 5, I think. So yeah, I'm going to give this a 4. Fossil is just a fossil. Wait and See Turbo is one of the most unfortunate, disappointing cards I've seen in a while. You can only use it if you go second on your first turn, and then you search your deck for a basic energy attached to one of your Pokemon, and then your turn ends. This is just awful. Like, you have to draw into it, you have to have lost the coin flip or chose to go second, and you have to draw into it on that turn, and then your turn ends, even though you went through all of that and found it. Just awful, awful card. Zisu, draw until you have one more card in your hand than your opponent has in theirs. Very bad card. Bulk. And then the rest is full art and alternate art and all of that good stuff. I wanted to see if we do get a Cleavor VSTAR that's like a rainbow, or if that just doesn't exist. Does Cleavor VSTAR exist in the rainbow form? It does. There is a Cleavor VSTAR, so I will rate this card as well. It does 120 and then 62 of V Pokemon on the bench. And the VSTAR does 30 times each Pokemon in your discard pile. I think this is like a 2 out of 5. It's like not unplayable, but it's also probably not that great. Also, why did specifically Samurott get the gold one? Did they know Samurott was the best out of the 3, so they just didn't bother giving Desi and Typhlosion gold versions? Oh, Jirachi is full art only. Great catch. You're right. The Jirach is full art only, so where is that? Here we go. Jirach, when your basic Pokemon V is knocked out by damage from an opponent's Pokemon, you may choose one basic energy from the knocked out Pokemon and move it to one of your other Pokemon. So this is horrible. Here's why. It has to have been a basic V Pokemon. So 2 stipulations on that. It has to be knocked out by damage. It can't be damage counters or special conditions or anything. And you have to have this Jirachi on your board. And your opponent can't have Path to the Peak out. This is just awful in every way. Negative 5 out of 5. Just very, very, very bulk. Very, very bad. But yeah, that's it for the Astral Radiance set review. I think this set is like a 5 out of 5 set. Really, really, really good set. Lots of new potential decks. We didn't talk about this thing, but I'm pretty sure Virizion V is bad. Did it get a full art that we could look at? It looked like oh yeah. Virizion V, we didn't talk about that. Your Pokemon with Grass Energy can't be affected by special conditions, and then it does 200. So if special conditions are ever a thing, then this is a thing, sure. 2 out of 5, situational, but could be worth something someday, in viability. So I think this set is amazing. A lot of competitively viable cards. I can't wait to start building decks for it. I am not testing Astral Radiance stuff yet because I still have New Jersey regionals in a week. After that, I am all in on Astral Radiance. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this set review of Astral Radiance. And if you're watching at a later time on the YouTubes, thanks for watching here on YouTube. You can check out links and my sponsors and everything like that in the description. And be sure to subscribe to the channel for daily Pokemon TCG content. And buy YouTube, as Gassy said. Thank you.